Good morning. What's up, guys? We are live. Man, market moving overnight. ATR here on NQ. We're currently sitting at 36 damn near. Man, gold. I don't know if any of you guys traded the metals. I saw a lot of you guys maybe were trading the metals overnight during Globex. The ATR on gold, that's GC, is currently 28, which is huge for gold. Silver, I think we're above 1. Yep, 1.21 on the ATR, which is huge on silver. For context, what's a big ATR on silver? Like 0.6 is a damn big ATR on silver. Gold, what's a big ATR on gold? Like 9. 9 is a pretty sizable ATR on gold. So 28, man. If you're going to be trading the metals here today, make sure you're sizing down. The spreads also, if you're trading prop on the metals, are going to be wide. You can drive a truck through those things. So, size down. Or don't trade the metals at all if you're trading prop. But if you're going to, size down. Good morning, guys. How we doing? AB, what's up, brother? Gerard, how we doing? Rich, what's up, guys? We ready to rock or what? Tell you what, man, I'm about ready to go. All right. So we are, what, 23 minutes out from the New York Open. So, you know, something presents itself here. I'll put it on, but we're pretty wiki right now, pre-market. I got to tell you, though, an ATR of 34, you know, even before we got news, where were you at? 25 on the ATR. If you look back here, man. So, again, this is an NQ 5-minute chart. I would not be surprised if ATR ends up in the 50s, 60s pretty soon after the New York Open, maybe within 5 or 10 bars. Probably more like 10 bars, 8 or 10 bars. So going into today, you know, I'm not talking total size. Total size that you're trading is kind of irrelevant. It's just dependent on the amount of accounts that you're trading. Size per account is what matters. So going into today, if you trade big per account, which you shouldn't be, I think you should be scaling horizontally. Make sure you size down per account. Because if ATR, meaning volatility, ends up high, we're going to have to chill out a little bit. Still hit a bunch of trades. But, you know, not taking full minis in 50K fundeds. ATR on gold up to 30. Huge. Huge, huge, huge. Yeah, so get used to the return to the original hours. So I will be starting the streams here at 9 a.m. Eastern. Okay, that's 8 a.m. Central Time, 30 minutes before the bell. Did anybody trade Globex overnight? I saw people talking in the Discord that they killed it overnight. I imagine we probably saw people trading the metals, huh? Probably gold. Yeah, gold went crazy overnight. Jesus. 500-point drop out of gold. That's something. That is something. Yeah, you short one contract up top here on gold and go to bed. 1 GC. We wake up early around 4 o'clock. Up 50 G's. What a move. What a move. That's one contract. I bet some people got pretty wealthy overnight. And pretty blown up. What's your bias today? Could Apple's earnings drive NQ up? Will gold go further down after inflation news today? I don't care. I don't have a bias. I don't care about earnings. I don't care about inflation news. I don't care about any of it. All I care about is how does the market react? I spent a long time. Listen, I have a deep understanding of economics. I studied earnings for a long time. And you know what? If you want to be an economist, that's tremendous. If you want to be an analyst and be 50-50, that's tremendous. The reality is the market is going to react not based on news. It's going to react based on where it currently stands heading into the news and then the news release. It only moves off of the difference in result versus the difference in expectation. And I don't mean analyst forecasts of earnings expectations. What I mean is the market looks at the expectation of earnings. And then the market has its own expectation. Like you look at the forecast for Nvidia earnings, whatever. And for a long time, it was like the market expected Nvidia to blow out beat. So when they would only beat by a little bit, it was a disaster. Okay, so don't get too caught up in it, man. I trade price action. Price action is truth. Everything else is conversation and filler and middlemen. I think most traders eventually kind of, at least day traders, eventually come to the spot where I'm at. And they eventually agree with what I'm saying. In the early days, I get it. You know, I still pay attention to news, obviously. I'll look at the expectations. I'll look at what the market's pricing in as far as probability for FOMC. But we all know what's coming, 90% of the time on FOMC. So it's like the market reaction is basically 50-50 on FOMC. For example. All right. 14 and a half minutes out here. NQ just getting brutalized into a little wedge here. See if it can start to expand. Question here, is RAM valid for 15-minute time frames? Is 5 minutes why is 5 minute your favorite? Yeah, so RAM, look, any chart at all. Any chart at all that has enough data per bar. If you remove price and you remove time from the axes and you look at the charts, assuming there's enough data in the bar that it's not just a wiki mess like a 5-second chart might be, it's pretty tough to actually tell the difference. If you did it, 100 times, you'd probably not be very good at determining what's a 15-minute, what's a daily, maybe even like what's a weekly, what's a 5-minute chart. It's going to be tough. Again, without price and without time and without anything but the data, the candles. So I trade RAM the same way, regardless of time frame. Now that starts to break below like a 1-minute chart, because there's not really enough data per bar. Now, as far as time frame, as you go up in time frame, quantity of trades goes down and the average quality will start to rise. As you come down in time frame, quantity of trades goes way the hell up and the quality of the average trade starts to go down. Doesn't mean it flips. It just makes the numbers look a little bit different. You have more trades with less edge per trade. If you trade like a daily chart, you'll have way less trades and a little bit more, or maybe a lot more edge per trade. Okay, the 5-minute to me is a wonderful balance. It keeps me engaged. I like the 5-minute. I'm not stressed out trading the 5-minute. I feel at home on the 5-minute. Doesn't mean I won't trade a 2-minute or maybe a 15-minute. But the 5-minute to me is a great balance of quality of trade and quantity of trades. I want to be engaged. I mean, honestly, I think sometimes the 5-minute feels a little bit slow in many ways. Okay, we're like 3.5 minutes out from a close. Let's wait and see. For me and my personality type, that can start to feel kind of slow sometimes. But I also think it's kind of a good thing because it just forces patience and discipline, no matter how you're feeling that day. Because, you'll become a more disciplined and patient trader over the years. But you'll still have your days where you're like, you're a little trigger happy. I mean, we're human, right? It's not the exact same, you're not the exact same mood every single day. So a 5-minute, I think, is also pretty good at keeping you a little bit patient, whereas a 15-minute is so slow that I think it'll fail in doing so for, at least people of a similar personality type to me. And what I mean by that is, when you came in the market, if what excited you was being like a scalper and taking a lot of trades, that was me. You know, to this day, I love scalping. But to keep the quality up, I think it's important to you know, make yourself be a little bit more patient. Because, man, in the early days, I could sit there and hit some 100 times a day. Today, I'm not afraid of hitting some 100 times a day, but there better be 100 setups if I'm taking 100 trades. Which, of course, most days there will not be. Nine minutes till the open. If you're trading a 15-minute chart, would you wait 3 times as long to get fills on trades? I think that that's logical, yeah. Yeah, if you wanted to keep it, you know, the same 15 to 30 seconds, that's cool. But I think it's logical to give it, you know, I mean, 3 times as long. But you could give it 45 to 90. That makes sense to me. Now, by the way, Apex is 90% off. You've got 7 minutes until we're head down working, so you better go hit that code BIG, B-I-G. Again, Apex is 90% off across the board. Lifetime activation fees are $75. Let me double check. They're $75 from the 25Ks to the 100Ks. Yes, and then they're $135 from the 150s up to the 300s. So if you're a 50K account trader, right now your evals at Apex are $19.70. They might as well be fucking free. And the activation fees are $75. If you're a half reasonable trader with Edge, those numbers are stupid good. We love it. Bought 5 evals yesterday, passed them all. 5 new fundeds here today. Good work, brother. Scale that thing to 20. All right, we are about 5 minutes out here from the opening bell, 5.5 minutes. We take one quick peek back at gold. HR on gold sitting right about 30. Now, let me tell you something. Are the metals in play right now? You're damn straight they're in play. Is this kind of weird and tough and reminiscent of a trading range potentially after this big move and easy to get excited to just short whatever you look at, when in reality, we're probably in a sideways range for now. Yeah, that's also true. So I think on the metals, probably need a better look. Javaz bought 5 50k Apex using code BIG. Failed 3, passed 2. That's a reasonable pass rate. I mean, can't complain about that. You know, I mean, realistically, at the 90% off, I mean, even the 80% off, but like at the 90% off price points, if you're passing with a 40 or 50% pass rate, like I really don't see how you could be complaining. That's totally reasonable. And, you know, I think a lot of traders, they'll buy like 2 evals and spend 2 months trying to pass both of them, because I think a lot of traders are like, if I don't pass this eval, I'm a failure. That's a really dumb way to look at it. The eval, if you have edge, if you have reasonable positive expected value, the evals are a waste of your time. Just do the best you can. Don't gamble them away. Take reasonable trades, but do the best you can, and don't, you know, swallow up your time. There's opportunity cost involved here, right? Now, again, that's assuming you have edge. If you don't, the evals can be a great tool to find said edge for cheap. But, like, please, don't get caught up in this weird beginner-esque mentality that, like, if I don't have a 100% eval pass rate, I suck. No one cares where your eval pass rate is. Your family only cares what you bring home. Your family's not going to look at you bringing home, you know, a 50k, 100k month, even a, you know, 15k month, man. That's tremendous. A lot of people have never seen a 15k month. That's great. Let's get you there. But if you bring that home, your family isn't like, oh, this is great, but wait, what was your pass rate on the Apex evaluation accounts? Then I'll make my assessment. Nobody gives a fuck. They're like, wow, you're doing a tremendous job providing. Thank you. Like, don't get in this weirdo mentality of, if I don't pass every eval I buy, I suck. That's not true. If you don't take payouts for years and years and years and don't try to get better, then you kind of suck. And you should look in the mirror and say, yeah, I kind of suck. I should actually take this seriously. Straight up, homeboy. All right, 2 minutes out. Best time of the day. We love it. All right. 60 seconds. Man, I'm so excited. I'm about to start blasting party emojis in the chat. You guys aren't doing it enough. You're not gonna hit it. Fuck, I'll fucking hit it. Yeah. This is that time, man. Doesn't it make you kind of wish we could be a floor trader for a day? 30 seconds out. Just start throwing punches on the open. All right, let's get zoomed in here for the open. Let's see what we got. Ding, 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 baby. Here we go. Let's get that volatility up. You're off the rip. Nice, nice. Push, Bulls! Good work. All right, in the chat, we're taking bets. We're taking bets. We're throwing dice in the alley, man. Does this thing reverse and fade all day, repeat of yesterday? Or are we taking this thing slow grind higher? Either way, what did I say? I said I think the ATR might be 50s and 60s within maybe 8 to 10 bars off the open, maybe earlier. That ATR is at 38. Let's see if we can get it into the 50s or 60s here. Bottom right of your screen, that red number. That's the average range in points of a 5-minute bar. Looking back, 10 5-minute bars. So, of course, most of that right now is pre-market. Look at that, Bears taking control. All right, we're 3 minutes into the open here, and we have a huge 100-point range already on the day. Man, do you guys remember? Not that long ago, December, I think? Yeah, December. We were seeing... Oh, fuck, I feel like we would be maybe 2 hours into the day, and the range on the day was like 75 points. Some days. So I would like you to take a second and count your lucky stars. That volatility, man, has been pretty reasonable this week. We love it. It makes our job so much better and more fun and effective and simpler, easier, dare I say. There's nothing worse, you know, the worst time, I should say, to be a day trader is when the market is just not moving. Like when it's doing this, obviously this is pre-market, right? But when it's doing this in the morning and the ATR is like 9. That is the worst. It's very frustrating, it's boring. But this has been pretty damn good this week. All right, there's the open of bar 2. Bar 1 on this Pharaoh Friday is history. Bar 2, what do you got? Okay, so as far as news, we had PPI, of course, this morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Trump is signing some executive orders, 11 a.m. Eastern. A couple of Fed speakers, 11:10, 1:30 Eastern. Fed speakers, don't worry about Fed speakers right now. At least I'm not worried about them. All right, Bears. See if the Bears can engulf that full bull body. They're trying. All right, we're about a minute 7 out here from the open of bar 3. Close of bar 2 here. Bar 2 getting almost nothing done after all that wicking around. I'm going to start a poll for bar number 3 here. Poll is live. Alright, bar 2 trying to make something happen here. Extremely wicky. Big bar, huge wick on the bottom. Struggling to close outside the wick high of 1. Let's see if they can. If they can, to me, that's not very clean because this massive wick triples the risk. Barely. The bull's barely closing it outside the wick high of 1, so I'm waiting on bar 3. See what bar 3 brings to the table here. Ideally without growing too much to the downside, increasing that wick. There you go, bulls. Not too bad. Well, we got about 3 minutes out here till the close of bar 3. If bar 3 can close nice and clean without too much wick on the top or bottom, that could be right in the slot for me to slap a trade on. We'll see how bar 3 closes. All right, you bears. Damn. "90 seconds. All right, there's the open of big bar 4. We'll see how 4, if 4 can put something together here. Okay, so we end up just reclaiming this whole range on the day. Damn, I wonder how many longs just got destroyed, by the way. Oof. Alright, if we reclaim this whole range, all of a sudden we gotta think. Are we gonna see this whole day just turn into a big sideways trading range? I mean, at some point you'd think with this kind of volatility, we just gotta pick a direction and go, huh? Don't want to be too excitable about that idea. You end up taking 3, 4, 5, 6 breakout trades in a trading range before you realize what the hell's going on. $235 out here from the close of big bar 4. Yeah, be careful in this. Be careful in this. This is insecurity here out of both sides. Market is currently confused. As I always say, if the market's confused, why the hell would I not be? Alright, ATR on gold sitting about 30. Similar boat as NQ. Confusion. This is YM that we're looking at here right now. I mean, very similar boat. We'll go back to NQ here. All right, 40 seconds out from the close of bar 4. Yeah, we're on a 5-minute chart right now. NQ. Alright, There's the open of bar 5. Well, the ATR here on NQ is up to 48 on bar 5. So I said I think we're going to see 50s and 60s. I originally said after 5 or 10 bars, then I revised that to maybe after 8 or 10 bars. I think we might see it after 5 bars. All right, we got about 2 minutes left here on bar 5. All right, 25 seconds out here. This market is hanging out right in this little range. So we set a big 100-point range on bar 1, expanded that range to maybe 125 maybe points, and now we're just right inside. This market is confused. No doubt. You know, this is something else. So, when this kind of thing starts to happen, it's going to snap up. Which way? Well, right now, it's not sugarcoated. Right now, which way is 50-50? Literally, it's 50-50. Which means we got to let this thing pick a direction. And I don't want to say go as in break out and trend, 1,000 points, but at least, pick a direction and start moving here. Just got my email from Apex saying my payout was sent. 2,000 per account on 10 accounts. Go big, baby. Good work. Tremendous. 20K payout never hurt anybody, huh? There we go. Come on, bar 6! Let's take this thing off a cliff. I want to see a repeat of yesterday. Beautiful. Take it lower, Bears. Take out the wick low of 1. Well, there goes any stop hunt that I could potentially do as as bar 6 takes out the wick low of 1 and goes absolutely nowhere because we're on a big trading range right now. All right, so let's let bar 6 here close up. This would be the first bar closing beneath the wick low if it can. Sucking back inside. Look at that bear insecurity. Ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. All right, bar 7 opened up. Let's see what we get. Levi, just took my first payout from Take Profit Trader thanks to you. Bought 2 more evals to scale and spent the rest on dinner for the lady and me. Felt unreal paying for something using money from the market. I've been saying it for a long time. That first time when you pay a bill, pay for a dinner, the bill comes and you get your card out and you're like, this is coming from the market. I think it almost changes things a little bit psychologically for you in your trading. It's a cool feeling. It's a cool feeling because you're paying for something with money that everyone told you you couldn't get. And here you are doing it because they said that you can't do that. That's a scam. That's impossible. Day trading is bullshit. Maybe for you. But here you are paying your bills with it. I don't know, man. Seems pretty real at that point, doesn't it? I'm on Big Bar 7. Look at this. Look at this. Right back into the range. Don't get eaten up. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, don't get eaten up. This market doesn't know what to do. It can't decide. Well, lucky bar number 7. You know, there's some bars that have some lore around here. I'd say bar 3, bar 7, bar 50 has a little bit of lore. Well, 3 failed us here today with a big old rejection right back into the range. No setup on 3. Not too much going on here on 7. 47 seconds out. Yeah, there's nothing I can do here. We've yet to see a bar closing outside of this range, really. At least since it developed. So let 7 close, still inside the range. Can't even close beneath the wick low of 1, let alone 6. Yep, 8 right back up. All right, well, I'm going to pull it out. I'll be right back. 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. What's up? Welcome back. And we're still in this little range. Which means I hope everyone's remaining disciplined. James, I use code BIG, but how can we ever repay you for what you've done? You can hit that like button or the dislike button, big dog. That's how you can do it. Appreciate you doing so. All right, Bart, you know, both sides here today, man. Super insecure. Super insecure here. All right, 40 seconds out from the close of bar 10. Man, this market is straight up range bound. The thing here is it's volatile. Look at this. Look at this. What did I say? Pre-market, I said I think the ATR will be in the 50s or 60s by 8 to 10 bars. Here we are, 58 on bar 10. What I should have said was with absolutely no clue as far as the market has no clue what it wants to do. So the volatility's here. I'd rather have the volatility than not, but as far as, you know, any decisive nature out of the market, we're just not there yet. Look at this. This is hideous. Okay, so in the chat, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. Obviously, still looking for setups. That's priority number one always. But in the chat, I do want to know your guys' opinions and thoughts and whatever on Trump's pick for the new Fed chair to replace Powell. Kevin Warsh? Warsh? Now, he's a conservative economist, and if he's Trump's guy, I wonder, is he in Trump's ear saying, hey, I get it, Powell isn't slashing rates to make you look good. Tell you what, homeboy, you put me in charge, I'll do it for you. That's kind of a risky play. But any president, I don't care what side you're on, any president would love to have interest rates be zero effectively, because what happens when interest rates are zero? Yeah, you create some longer term issues, maybe, but who gives a shit? You'll be out of office and you'll be remembered as the guy that everyone felt pretty rich under. That's all anyone ever thinks about, right? How rich did they feel when so-and-so was president? So, I'm curious. If he takes the chair and replaces Powell, if he slashes rates, which I don't think the rest of the Fed would be too cool with, but if he does, you can sit on the internet and bitch about it for, 3 years. But the rest of us are going to take that opportunity to try to make as much money as humanly possible so we can deal with the issues when they arise. Because there's a lot of money flowing when people do those things. All right, we got 4.5 minutes out from the close of 12. All right, 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and Bears still having trouble taking us outside the wick low of bar 6. See if they can, man. Again, hey, big sideways, flat trading ranges are one of the toughest things in the market to trade. Just about any strategy will agree with that. So take your time here. Nico, where do you think the market will go? I know enough about probability to know that answering that is a fool's errand because this is a 50-50 game currently since the New York Open. When you get a big flat sideways trading range, flip a coin. Probability is 50-50, which is why I'm not in anything right now. So the highest ROI activity right now is to do this. And then when we get something, slap it. There we go. There we go. Taking out the low. Now we got to see if the Bears can actually hold this thing down. I imagine the Bulls are going to try to close it up inside the wick low of bar 6. Let's see if the Bears are secure enough to take it down. This is a battle here right now. This is a battle. Come on, Bears. Close it beneath the wick low bar 6. Do it to them. 5 seconds. Beautiful work, Bears. All right, that's the first bar closing outside this range, which means I don't take that. That's the very early trade. And on a bar that's 73 points in range, I'm not interested in the early trade. So I win on bar 13. See what we get. See if 13 can give me a nice clean bear body with a clean close. Well, by this time yesterday, we were up, what, like 20,000? And today, man, the market cannot make a decision. I'm on 13. Give us a nice, clean, bear close. 250 out. All right, Bulls trying to take it back up into that range. They're trying. They are trying hard. I want to see the Bears take it low, close it right at this wick low. That'd be a beautiful thing. If they can do it, I've got a stop limit sell for them, wrapped up with a big old bow. All right. Come on, Bears. Well, I don't want to miss anything, so I might as well get ready, I suppose, in case we see a last-second dump-off and beautiful close. Nope. This market is so confused right now. So I gotta tell you, I think what we may end up seeing here, you think this develops into a soft bear channel? Now that we put in the low at 13, bar 13 that is. Let's hope so. Look at this. Look at this. All right, let's see if 14 rejects earlier, or if it goes and takes out the wick high at 9. Especially the wick high of 3. Alright, what's up on, let's quickly take a look at gold. ATR is still sitting 31, man. You gotta be really careful on gold. You gotta be really careful. I mean, you buy one contract on gold and risk one ATR, you're risking what? Can someone tell me in the chat? It's okay. There's no stupid answer. Except the wrong answer. Just kidding. You buy one contract GC and you risk one ATR, let's say. There you go, 3,000 bucks. Okay, now look down at your prop accounts. Do you have that room to risk on one trade? The answer is probably not. So you got to size way the hell down. Trade the micros here. Unless you're trading a personal account. Oh, man. Well, I think we were pretty accurate when we said the market's confused as all hell right now, huh? We've retraced the same midpoint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 10 times. Good lord. That's something else. Well, if you need to pass some evals, maybe now's the time, man. All right, I've got a poll going in the chat. Which way does NQ break out of this big old range? Up or down? Let's get a big sample size of votes going. I want to see what you guys think. This is indecisive. Yep, stream starts for market open, 9 a.m. Eastern now. So be here, baby. All right, bar 15, 2:15 out from the close. ATR here on an NQ 5-minute chart is 58, which is a great ATR if we could get some reasonable price action going here. All right, 20 seconds out here till we get to close and roll over from bar 15 into 16. And I gotta tell you, man, there is nothing on bar 15. Huge wick, obviously still inside this huge trading range. If you're having trouble, by the way, if you're confused right now, you know what a good rule of thumb that took me a long time to understand, but now helps me out a lot when I feel confused looking at a chart, any chart, doesn't matter. And I still to this day will remind myself of this. If I am confused, first of all, the market is probably also confused, which means, therefore, right, if I'm confused, assuming, you know, I'm I'm mentally all there that day, right? If I'm confused, it's probably a trading range. And 90% of the time, that is correct. So if you're confused, fall back on this. You're looking at this, you're like, I'm so confused right now. I've taken 3 trades, none of them worked. What the fuck? What's going on? Take a step back, say, okay, wait. When I'm confused, it's a trading range. Look, 80 to 90% of the time, you're going to be like, yep, that's correct. And it's going to chill you out. So we wait, man. Bar 16, 350 out. Question here, Nico, did you take a lower amount of trades to get profitable? They say they're trading breakouts at the open. Past 2 weeks, they're only taking 1 trade a day, 1 MNQ, and up $1,000. Not sure if I could scalp with a clear head like you. In the early days, it's not about, I wouldn't say it's about number of trades. I never liked the rule of like 1 trade a day because mathematically that's not optimal. However, what I will say is in the early days, you should only take the very best. The very best, the stuff that you believe you have the most amount of edge on, which is the A setups. Maybe like the B plus if you want to size down on those, but honestly, in the early days, you might not even know when to size down. So I think it's easiest to get profitable by just taking the A quality stuff, leaving everything else and not drowning the good with garbage like most traders do. They'll take 1 good trade all day, and then, you know, I've been guilty of this too, plenty of times. Less so now, but plenty of times I've done this. You take 1 or 2 good trades, and you take 15 others throughout the day, and all of a sudden your P&L is red. It's like, it should not be red today, you know? So don't drown out the good with the bad. Just take, if you're trying to get profitable, just take the A quality stuff, leave everything else. It's going to do wonders for your discipline, patience, and confidence, which is kind of like the trinity of success in this world. Trading space, that is. I guess everything else too, kind of. And then when do you expand? Well, as time goes on, you put in more screen time. Your discretionary decision-making gets better. Your nuance recognition gets much better. And your sizing discretion and nuance also improves, of course, because your grading ability gets a little bit more accurate over time, right? And then what happens is naturally your trade count starts to climb a little bit, which is good. People think overtrading is like the worst thing ever. Overtrading is the worst thing ever, but it only exists if you're taking trades that don't have edge. If you take, for example, 175 trades in one day, but you had a reasonable expectation of edge on all 175, the question is, did you overtrade? No. And if you took 11 trades, but 9 of them you didn't really have a reasonable expectation of positive expected value, did you overtrade? Yes, very much so. All right, we have bar 16 closing here in 10 seconds. Still inside that range, nothing there. Oh, this mug is actually, see, it's kind of deceiving because this mug is kind of it's like the miniature version, but it looks normal because I'm kind of like a little guy, you know? One of those things. Holds 3 ounces. Do I drink good coffee? I don't even know what I drink what my wife buys. I couldn't even tell you what I'm drinking as far as coffee. No clue. It's pretty good. I like it. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go top up. Back in 2. Don't you go anywhere. What's up? All right, big bar 18, 3.5 minutes out. Let's see how we close up, man. This is the closest thing to a look that I've had all damn day. Let's see what we end up with here. Beautiful job, Bears. Let's keep that right about there. 2.5 minutes. Come on, Bears. 90 seconds. If the Bears can give me a nice clean close, I'll short it. 100%. This is not a nice clean close here so far. Minute 20 out. Yeah, chop day mean reversion. Yeah, if we're gonna trade mean reversion in the, which, you know, by the way, it's not like mean reversion in a sideways trading range is not logical. Okay, the problem just comes in when you have to when you have to manage your risk. It's like, whoa. Most risk management is going to be arbitrary, which is tough. I mean, what, 15 seconds? I can give it 15 seconds. 5 more seconds now. No fill, no trade. See how 18 closed right beneath the wick low of 17? Big wick. So I only give it 15 seconds, no fill, no trade. So let's watch 19. No, now if you wanted to do something like buying the close of bar 13, stop limit buy above the wick high, at that point you at least have bar 13 to manage risk. You know, the most logical trade I'd say all day so far today was buying the close of 13. But I mean, still, you know, it's 10, 11, 12, small bull body. It's not like probability on it is so tremendous. But, you know, the bar itself is kind of small. Risk is small compared to the potential reward. You know, it's all right. It's not like it's an A setup, though. For me, at least. For me. All right, 19. Let's see what's up. Well, so what's up with you guys? What are we drinking, man? What are we drinking while we wait for this thing to pick a direction? I might have some here on 19. We might be less than 3 minutes out from a big old trade getting slapped on here. Let's see. Go to breakfast, eggs and oatmeal. Eggs and oatmeal. Real food is always best, but if you're like, come on, dude, I can't cook. You know what it actually is? I've never been able to really do like whey. Even a really high quality whey isolate, it doesn't sit well with me. I can't do it. I get flushed. It makes me tired. I'm really sensitive to it. So a lot of people think that like, oh, you have to just use protein shakes. No, I've always used almost entirely real food. But a really good replacement, obviously I have zero affiliation. I buy their shit like twice a month, which is a lot. Animal Meal, which is literally the name of the product, Animal Meal by Animal the company, is a really tremendous product. It digests super well for me. There is no whey in it. The ingredients are very good. It digests very well. That's also a really good option. The macros are pretty much perfect. But if we're talking real food, eggs and oatmeal. Come on, 19. All right, inside close on a bar 19. Let's see, is bar 20 the answer here? I've still got plenty of room as far as a continuation trade. Luckily, this range is pretty damn wide. Let's see if 20 can give me a nice clean bare close. Oh, bar 20, you're killing me. Right back into the range. You know, from plenty of first-hand experience in the early years, you want to know the quickest way to trigger yourself a massive, ridiculous, end of the world, feeling like blow up day? You want to know the quickest way to trigger it? Bet on every breakout on a daily today. Take 7 trades, lose all of them in a row, and now you're pissed. You're not walking away at this point. And you're going to sit there until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern, and hit everything. Because you're pissed. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Just wait for the market to give you a setup. Alright, gold. ATR on gold here is 27. Gold's kind of in a big range as well. I mean, you could make the argument that maybe we'll enter a soft bear channel here, at least since the New York Open. But we're not really even there yet until we can get another push lower and take out the wick low of 7. Silver. ATR on silver still above 1. 1.1. That's very high. Very high. YM, huh? Actually, yeah, maybe. Let's take a look. Alright, 25 seconds out here. I don't mind this actually at all on YM. This may just turn into a big soft bear channel, but we're not really there yet. Which means since I'm here, I gotta pop over and see. Get my stop limit sell ready here. Boom, roll over, place that guy there, give him about 20-25 seconds, see if he can give me a fill. More seconds here. Who's gonna fill me? It took it. It took it at the very last second. By the way, YM is a little bit smaller. I left my size the same, so this is likely to be a bit of a smaller trade here. Yeah, I'll see if I can get a full R here. I mean, it's, you know, it's a reasonable ask. It's not a small ask, but it's reasonable. Full R. Still, sizing here, you know, on YM is not large. No, it's going to be labeled NQ in the upper right. That's incorrect. This is YM. This is the Dow, baby. All right, ATR here on YM is 67. All right, there's the open bar 22. See if I can get a full R here. About 85, 90 points. Manage bar by bar as needed. Come on now, you bears. Whole bunch more work to do. ATR still sitting 64. It's still plenty healthy. But again, I'm looking for a full R here. Mo, passing a 50K here on this trade. Good work, brother. All right, Bears, there you go. Let's get a bit more here out of this. Got to see, I'm looking for, again, 85 to 90 points. Technically 87. We'll see how quick it moves. And I look to buy it back down a little bit deeper here. Can't pull it yet. Not looking for 1 ATR, I'm looking for a full R, which is my risk unit here on this trade. See, Bears have a little bit more steam here. Alright, well, I gotta move my stop. Ooh, which means I'm multitasking here. Ooh. Okay. Alright, that's not break even, by the way. I'm moving it just above the new signal bar. Just happens to be near break even. Coincidence. Boom, there we go. 1R on that trade. Beauty. Moving on. There we go, YM. Treating us right. I appreciate it, YM. Back to NQ. See what's going on over on NQ. Nice little short there on the Dow. And Ram strikes again, baby. Is anybody surprised? We love it. All right, 340 out here from the close of Big Bar 23. Kevin just passed 5 Apex accounts with that move down. Good work. Very good job. Christian says, is there a way to... Where'd it go? Is there a way to lower the chances of getting skipped over? Yeah, you want to widen out the limit part of your stop limit, sell, and buy. The limit is going to be 1 tick, typically, as default, I widen mine out a bit just to, you know, I wouldn't like go unlimited, but I widen it out a few ticks for sure. Try to make sure I don't get skipped over too often. All right, so this would be the first bar closing outside the wick low of 13, by the way, which is a bit risky as far as that range just fading right back up. All right, 2 minutes out. Question here, Nico, in affordable indicators, that's my copy trader that I use. Do you leave the trade type button on orders or executions mode? I use executions mode. Basically always. I always leave it on executions mode. I tried for a while. I think it was when I was running Replicanto to use order, or I guess the equivalent of orders mode. There's trade-offs here, okay? In executions mode, if something insane happens and everything fails and everything goes down, all of my follower accounts are naked. There's no orders out. Okay, but knowing that that doesn't happen too often, even if that did happen and everything blew, I don't really care that much because the ROI is still great. Okay, now here's the problem with using orders mode. That's really like the benefit of orders mode, by the way. Maybe you're like, well, you get better fills. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. At the expense, though, of... Or I'm sorry, that's the problem with executions mode. In orders mode, you're protected from that happening because the orders go out in the accounts. Right? In all the followers. So the orders are out. Your stop, your take profit, they're out. The problem with that is, in orders mode, when you enter, it's a nightmare. I run a lot of accounts. It's a nightmare. Damn near every trade is partial fills. Okay, well, I'm watching close of 23 here, by the way. Now I gotta wait on 24 because 23 is the first bar to close outside of this range-esque thing, the wick low of 13. So I'll watch 24 here. It's a nightmare to use orders mode with more than a couple of accounts because you always end up with partial fills, and then when you go to close it, now it's going to send, let's say you're trading 5 micros on one of the followers, but you only get filled on 2. Now when you go to close it, it's going to flip you 3 contracts the other way. It's a nightmare. Executions mode, it's just when the leader account executes in order, it just markets in or out with all the followers. It's so much smoother. And you could say, yeah, but don't you get worse fills because they're market orders? Don't care. Don't care. I don't want the headache of orders mode. It's such a headache. All right. See this? Now, some of you were probably wondering, hey, why didn't you take 23? And I don't want to be that hindsight Monday morning quarterback, but I've seen this too many times. This is a range. This is a big trading range. 24 would have stopped you out. You wouldn't have gotten a fill if you used a stop limit sell, but if you limit ordered in, I mean, look, first bar to close beneath the wick low of 13, you could say, well, it's a soft bear channel. Is it? Is it? To me, this is a big old trading range. You're like, yeah, it's sloppy. Don't overthink the line. It's a trading range. I don't think there's any way to look at this as a soft bear channel. Not yet, unfortunately. I'd love if it was. You know, it's just not. I think you're lying to yourself. All right, 2.5 minutes out here from the close of bar 24. Which affordable indicators copier do I use? I don't know. I don't know. I have the copier and the risk manager tool. I don't remember the price or anything. I don't know. It's a cost of doing business. If you're gonna open a coffee shop, you have to buy coffee. Otherwise, you don't got a coffee shop. So I mean, I know it sounds kind of like whatever, but this has got to be your mindset. I mean, at least I believe. If the copy trader was $3,000, I guess you're spending $3,000. I mean, like, you're here to make money, right? So you need the tool. Just buy the best tool and go. Who gives a shit? You're not here to make $4. You're here to try to do well, right? But, you know, honestly, the copy, it's really kind of inexpensive for what you get. It's pretty good quality. I really like it. They do a good job. Mr. Medic. Okay, so this makes almost $600 invested into the take profit trader, with one account making me $10,000 so far with a payout. Don't know how I didn't find this sooner. Beats being a medic in the streets. That's a great ROI. Good work. Keep that up. Man, you've been told lies. You've been brainwashed your whole life. Of course, I'm not saying trading is the only thing to do in this world. You know, we need a million things done. We need infinite things done in this world. But as far as the mindset surrounding money, I mean, me too, man. I mean, all of us. We were raised in communities where the majority of people worked jobs. And in jobs, when we were growing up, what was kind of like the number that where it's like, wow, that's like an impossible number to get to. Like, it's going to take me years to get to that. It's $10,000 a month. At least it was back then. So you have this weird mentality where it's like 10, 15,000 a month, man. It just gets harder and harder and harder. It's like none of this is real. These are all made up numbers just based on what jobs pay and then what gets instilled into your head as a child. I remember as a little kid thinking, man, if I can just make $100,000 a year, that's like, oh my God, if you make $200,000 a year, you're like Bill Gates. Which we all know, I mean, inflation plays a role, but like it wasn't true then. It's of course not true now. It's just, there's no rule that says 10,000 is so hard to make as far as like, or at least should be so hard to make. It's hard to make in jobs, right? Because they set the standard for what you get paid. Unfortunately, based on the cost of living. You have a job, you move to somewhere with a lower cost of living, they might legitimately cut your pay, which I think is fucking horseshit. That's disgusting to me. I cannot stand that idea. That's crazy as hell. All that to say, these preconceived notions of what's like, of the friction it takes to get to certain numbers, it's all just made up. It's in your head. I get it, it's real, because that's what jobs pay on average, but like, it's just, you gotta put that out of your head. It's hurting you badly. Question here, what's the ATR that you seem to trade the best at? They say 30 has been their sweet spot, but enjoying the 50s. Man, for me, I don't care. Between 30 and 70, tremendous. 30 to 90, or I should say 70 to 90, great, I'll size down. Above 100 on an NQ 5-minute chart for the ATR, that's the red number bottom right of your screen. It's the average range in points of a 5-minute bar based on the last 10 5-minute bars, is how I set it up. Above 100, it's like, is there news? Like, what's going on? Like, is Trump talking or something? But man, below 30, job gets tougher. Below 20, job gets tougher. Below 10, it's time to walk away. But man, give me an ATR between 30 and 70 and we can get to work. Sitting at 52 right now, tremendous. Oh yeah, listen, I'll tell you guys. Those of you guys, we have someone talking about this in the chat right now. Those of you guys who are overseas, if you happen to live in a lower cost of living country compared to the US, okay, if you can find an edge in the market, I understand that you still have to buy the evals, at the price that they're at. You still have to pay the activation fees. I get it. But if you can find an edge, the amount of leverage you have, especially if you're in a lower cost of living country, don't look at this in this world as the trading world, that is. That's not a disadvantage. You got to pay up front for the activation fee and stuff. But if you have an edge, the amount of leverage you have is disgusting. It's disgusting. Hit it hard. Even in the US, it's crazy. But like, I can't imagine, man, if you have a little bit of startup capital to start your prop trading business and you live overseas in a country that has a lower cost of living, it's time to go, dude. All right, bar 26. Oh yeah, living in Thailand. Man. Man, you make a reasonable amount just from trading, living there. You are living it up. You got the best place to live, the best food, man. Tremendous. All right, 26. Yeah, Fort Lauderdale. I mean, look, wherever you want to live, you got to live somewhere. So pick somewhere, live there. It's not like it really makes that much of a difference. I mean, let's be honest. Most places in the US, I get it, okay? I'm not oblivious. But most places in the US are like, once you get settled in, it's like kind of similar. Assuming it's reasonable. So like wherever you live, you just gotta, I mean, it's not like, you could say Fort Lauderdale's crazy, okay? But then, look at Aspen. New level. There's always a bigger fish. All right, so just got to make more money. That's the answer. All right, we got bar 26 closing here in 40 seconds. All right, so we got a question here. Do you watch Tick, Valdi, etc. at all, or do you only trade bar by bar? Haven't checked out RAM yet, but super curious. I trade bar by bar on the instrument that I'm on. I keep an eye on volatility and such by looking at the ATR bottom right of your screen. The price action is king. Straight to the source. I watch price action bar by bar on the instrument I'm on, with, of course, the volatility up in the form of ATR. Question, I heard somewhere that YM is a good watch as a leader for NQ, fact or fiction. I don't think of it that way. Look, we're trading the instrument that we're on, right? If that were true, guess what would happen instantly? The algorithms would realize it, and that arbitrage would close basically instantly, right? So if that really were true, do you think that cycle would last long enough for you to hear about it? Probably not, because that would be recognized as an arbitrage opportunity. It would be closed by algorithms very fast. Just trade the price action on the instrument you're looking at. They say, everyone has a strategy. How do you take a large loss and a large profit under the same light? How long did it take you to get into monk mode? Okay, look. The answer to this. It's not look in the mirror, spin around, and say X 3 times, and all of a sudden you're cast under a spell where you don't care and you're emotionless. This is about, I've gone through so much pain in the market that I learned that the way to do this is to create an undeniable track record to yourself, nobody else, to yourself, where the confidence is there. And then your job just becomes, okay, size yourself appropriately at a sizing that you're very comfortable with, take high enough quality trades that you're very comfortable with, to the point where you just no longer care about the outcome of each individual trade. I want to win trades, but I care about the end of, the month. I don't care about this trade. If you care so much about this trade, one of two things or both is going on. Either you're trading way too big, or you have zero track record because you've never gone through a 1 to 2 week period of brute forcing discipline with a logical methodology. I've had a bunch of people in the tomb finally get the fucking nut up and go, all right, I'm going to size down. I'm going to brute force discipline for 1 to 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, 4 days later, they're like, holy shit. I've rewired my brain. I barely even, I look back on the craziness when I was taking shit to entertain myself, and I think that was insane. They now get their dopamine from doing the disciplined thing, not from gambling. It just takes 1 to 2 weeks of brute force discipline. That's it. And then eventually you create this undeniable track record for yourself where when you lose 2 or 3 trades in a row, you look back and say, yep, but when I do the right thing, that's the result I get. And then it's easy to just keep doing the right thing. And then eventually you get desensitized to bigger numbers, you become comfortable with bigger numbers, and you no longer really care that much if you win or lose this trade. That's the quote-unquote secret. Simple as that. Wicking back here on 27. Yeah, let's get look at this. Insecure as all hell. It's gonna close even inside the wick high at 26. See how insecure that is? All right, guys. One trade so far here today on YM. Beautiful short over on YM, by the way. Little RAM continuation trade worked beautifully. So one trade, 3,500 bucks. Happy Pharaoh Friday, man. I'm off to lunch. Stay patient. Let the setup come to you when it does, baby. Hit it hard. Do not drown the good with garbage. Almost every trader does it. Don't be that trader. Be one of the 1 to 2% that actually make it in this industry. It's up to you. Okay, this does not take some kind of alien genetic ability. It just takes 1 to 2 weeks of brute force discipline, create that looping cycle. Retrain your brain to get the dopamine from doing the good things, like following a logical methodology and being patient and disciplined, not from straight up gambling. All right, guys, I'm off to lunch. See you Monday. Subscribe to the channel. Be patient, man. Let it come to you. All right, see you soon.